Hello, ladies and gents. Apologies for the little delay there. Not too sure what the two teams are doing, but we are finally live for the finals here of the 4PL Play for Fame tournament number 3, and it's going to be Bacon Lovers against DemTrolls. Now, we've had some pretty good teams in this tournament, Pulse, and I don't think either of us were expecting this final to take place. We had TT Dragons, Team Megashock, Fnatic, and you had some other good teams too, so the fact that these two got through is quite surprising, but kind of cool at the same time.
Yeah, the seeding was very odd though, to be fair, and it wasn't until the finals and the point where DemTrolls beat Fnatic. Probably Fnatic trying something new anyway, because obviously we saw them running Jace. But yeah, very interesting. I know that the early brackets for a lot of the sections were extremely strong. The first game we casted, Megashock versus TT Dragons. Honestly, it should have been a semi-final game in my opinion, because outstanding teams. But here we are. Very exciting to have two new unknown teams right in the final.
Yeah, we have of course covered both of these teams previously in the tournament, if I'm not mistaken. And as you said, Fnatic did get knocked out by DemTrolls, and we just saw My Revenge get knocked out from Bacon Lovers. So it's quite interesting to see how these two teams will fare up against one another. New Jarvan and Nocturne banned from. It's gonna be Bacon Lovers, isn't it, on the left-hand side?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. It gets quite confusing sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. Are we rehosting, or are those legitimate bans?
I don't know. I think they're legitimate bans.
Okay.
Banning Nunu is quite a strange one. Maybe scared about his jungle. Jarvan the fourth, again, it's quite strange, but he is a strong champion in the right hands. Nocturne makes sense, more of a standard ban that you'd expect. And then on the team of, I'm drawing a blank, DemTrolls, it's really confusing because normally you have like a tag or something at the beginning of the name.
Sure.
So, for future reference, blue team is going to be Bacon Lovers, and purple team is DemTrolls. So DemTrolls are going to be eliminating Urgot, Malphite, and Shen, picking up Ahri and Alistar, both very strong champions. And on the other team, you have Sona. And what's your thoughts here? Because typically, you don't normally pick your mid AP first, because it gives the opposition the chance to counter it. So
yeah.
Taking Ahri first is a bit of a head scratcher if they lock that one in.
Yeah, I agree. Usually you pick your... Oh, hello, Leeson. Usually you pick your bottom lane first, or unless you want a specific comp, like an AoE or a global teleport comp, then you pick them first. But other than that, you usually go for your bottom lane, because you can't really, counter a bottom lane. I guess you can in some sense, but generally it's going to be down to that farming, unless you go for a kill lane like Graves, Tarek, or something like that. But good idea to take Sona first. With Ahri, very difficult to counter in my opinion, because you can farm pretty decently, and if you get pushed out, you can go roaming. If you're confident in your roaming skills, and your composition is quite sort of mobile, then it makes a lot of sense, because, well, if you can't kill your mid, then you might as well just go bottom. Say they pick a Galio, for example. Then again, if the Galio picks Teleport, there's a lot of counterplay either way. But Ahri, as it comes to APs, is a fairly safe pick. The same way that, like, Kennen and Riven are obviously just not as safe.
I always felt that Ahri is quite susceptible to CC, so obviously, yeah, it's great having maneuverability, but if you're getting stunned or snared, there's not a great deal you can do. So, for example, Arise, with the Rune Prison, I've always found has worked fairly well against Ahri. That's just me personally. That's typically what I would pick against her. Obviously, you said before, Galio is quite strong as well. But we still haven't seen what Bacon Lovers are going to take to counteract the Ahri. They've gone for Shyvana and they've gone for Ezreal, so again we're going to have that kind of what's becoming the classic bot lane of Sona and Ezreal, the burst damage supreme and the CC there. Shyvana can be played, as we've seen in this tournament already, and I believe last time for Bacon Lovers it was taken top, unless I'm mistaken. And they had... who did they have in jungle? Was it Malphite? Was it Jax?
I think Jax was top, and Shyvana was jungle. Correct me if I'm wrong, unless my memory is just like...
Yes, yeah, you're right, sorry, my memory went. Yeah, you're completely correct. And it looks like we could be seeing it again, because have a quick look at Jax there. So you could have Jax top, Shyvana in the jungle, and also, wow, Talon mid to counteract the Ahri potentially. Any thoughts on that?
I like Talon. Like, well, with Talon, he's my, like, go-to mid, quite frankly, because he's an assassin, he's like an AD LeBlanc. So if you can burst him down, great. Rome, but you have to win very early. I stress that. If you don't get fed like LeBlanc, you scale off like off a cliff. It's not even funny. It's ridiculous how hard you scale off. So you have to get a lot of kills and roam constantly. Okay, and you switch up. Talon, no, okay. So Jax once again, top went well for them last time. Might as well follow the trend. This is pretty much the same comp apart from the mid so far. And I'm just taking a look at the other team until he fully
Wow.
switches in.
This is. I think this is the exact same combination that we saw Moscow 5 take in the Elite of Europe. They're going to have Zillion in mid, which Alex
Yeah.
Itch took. They had Jax top, Shyvana in jungle, and then they had Ezreal and Sona at bot lane. So they really are going for the Moscow 5 combination here, composition. And of course, Ilian is a really strong character, very much underrated. The bombs do significant damage, and on top of that, you can allow your initiation. So if it's going to be a Shyvana or Jax jumping in, you can always pop your ultimate on them, and they just pop back up like nothing happened. You also have a lot of the kind of slowdowns or speed ups depending on which way you take it. So Zillion actually is a very strong pick in this lineup, and against Ari does a pretty good job of negating a lot of that maneuverability. If she tries to spirit rush away, you put the slow on her, and she's not going to be able to get anywhere near the distance that normally she would be able to do so. So it's very, very interesting. Also, a lot of burst damage on Ari is a good way to obviously keep her back and stop being as aggressive, because every time she comes close to you, drop a bomb on her, she has to go back. It looks like we're going to have Irelia finishing off the lineup for DemTrolls, and they're going to have the Corki Ijana at bot lane, Lee Sin in the jungle, and finally, as we mentioned previously, Ari will be in mid. So yeah, you're going to have Jax top and Shyvana in the jungles.
Yeah, it does look very similar to that M5 setup, doesn't it? Honestly, if they want this comp to work, they have to play like M5. And I think the closest team who can do that is Acer. And they do it very well at that. But honestly, I have to say, Bacon Lovers' playstyle doesn't lean towards that. They're not very good at timing pushes and punishes. They're very good at knowing when they're ahead and then going for a team fight and like getting picks and things like that. But their playstyle is different, and I'm honestly not sure if it matches the comp.
Interestingly enough for me though, like Zillion is very mana hungry, but the good news for him, and this has obviously been thought out well in advance, is that Shyvana simply doesn't need blues. So it could even be potential that Zillion gets that first blue. I'm not saying it's guaranteed, because obviously Shyvana could do with the XP and the cooldown reduction is always cool, but Zillion is very, very mana dependent. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out for them. He can't consistently spam away from level 1 because obviously his mana is just going to disintegrate before his very eyes, but one to watch out for as the game progresses. Either way, guys, we are... Actually, no, let's not go for a commercial break. Just first, before doing so, I'm going to have a look at Zillion's runes because I'm really interested to see what this has to offer. 12 magic resist, 11 mana regen per 5 at level 18, so that's going towards what we were saying before about him being very mana hungry. Ability power plus 15, and finally 8.5 magic penetration for masteries 2136. So he is going the expanded mind, that's 12 mana per level, and on top of that he's putting 2 in meditation, which is 2 mana per regen, 2 mana regen per 5 seconds, I should say. So again, very mana hungry champion, and he's trying to do the best he can to negate some of that problem. So we're going to cut to a quick commercial break with 1 minute 45 remaining on the timer. When you rejoin us, it'll be live for the grand finals here of the Play for Fame number 3 4PL tournament. We'll see you shortly. Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome back to the grand finals of the 4PL Play for Fame TT Esports number 3 Cup. I am joined by Pulse, and we are Chaos TV streaming this one for you guys. As I said before, it is the finals. Two teams that probably not too many people are expecting to get through, but both of which are very talented, strong lineups, are through here. Most notably, that DemTrolls actually took out Fnatic, so a bit of an upset. But either way, we are into the game here, Pulse. You're talking somewhat in the break about the differences and the similarities between Bacon Lovers and Moscow 5, because this is an identical lineup that we saw in the Elite of Europe that Moscow 5 used to actually win.
Yeah, they were clearly watching because there's no way. I think they even have some of the same skins as well. But so I want to draw the comparisons because we've seen Bacon Lovers early on in the day. Not to take away from the fact that they're an amazing team and they've gotten to the finals, so that in itself shows they're a great team. But at the same time, they're using a composition that I really don't think they have the training for. Because Moscow 5, it was a very janky lineup, and we said that at the time. It worked because they're Moscow 5. Their playstyle fit it perfectly. It's a punish composition. Hard punish composition. If Moscow 5 ran it, they know that they could punish people. But we've seen before that Bacon Lovers can't. We saw them have Baron and not really make use of their timing push. They also didn't punish very well. They got a kill, they didn't do anything with it. It's like, okay, cool, we got a kill. And then backed off and then went base, got an item. Moscow 5, meanwhile, would have gotten a kill, taken their blue, taken the tower, taken Drake, gone mid, ganked someone else and rinse and repeat. And just punished them so hard for it. For this composition to work, they need to be hyper aggressive. I mean hyper aggressive. And when they get to mid game, they need to follow up on it. And if they don't follow up on it, then they'll lose. It's just, that's how it works. Unless the enemy team, DemTrolls, makes some hideous mistake. But Zilean, much like Talon, scales off a cliff.
He does. It's going to be important for Zilean to really get his work, down and make sure that nothing goes awry for him personally. But if it can work for his team, if they are well oiled, like a Moscow 5, this composition can work. Like you say, it is a punish kind of comp. And if you get ahead and you do punish, you will get big fat rewards. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can utilize it and make it work for themselves. A couple pings going down towards the red buff, but Shyvana seems more than happy to have the early aggression. Didn't really pay off, but was just waiting. And this is what I'm talking about. Zilean can harass Ari pretty damn hard. But the downside is that Zilean's mana pool will be going down extremely quickly. So he has to balance aggression with being passive, otherwise he's going to completely drain himself out and be useless.
Yeah, and first issue I've just seen already, Shyvana doesn't know how fast enemy junglers can clear roots, and I don't think she's too aware of roots in general, because she just went to enemy wraiths and expected them to be up and they weren't. She should have known the clear time of Lee Sin. So that in itself, not knowing exactly where your lane opponent is this early on, is a major issue. Zilean already looking for the major aggression, going up top with Lee Sin. However, he does not know he's there yet.
Uh-oh. This could be dangerous. You're going to have an engage at top lane onto Jax. Ignite goes down. Jax is taking so much damage, he should be falling right about now. He will die, but can they pick up a kill back? Yes, they will. Zilean takes down Lee Sin. But the first blood did go down onto the jungler. Could be picking up the second kill here, Zilean. Doing lots of damage. Shyvana has came in with the exhaust. So smart play in the end from Bacon Lovers, and they've actually managed to take the lead, and Zilean with a double kill. Now, we were talking before about him scaling off a cliff. That's the kind of start that you want. He has got double buff and a double kill to his name. Incredible.
Perfect. Perfect. Perfect start. That's exactly what he wants. Double buff, spamming bombs. Ari's going to have a nasty time. And what I want to see from Ari right now is how is she going to react from it. Because if she reacts badly, Zilean is going to pull further and further ahead. Snowball champion. Snowball team. They punished him hard. Lee Sin went for the gank, and amazingly, Zilean pulls it off, got some kills. That's what they need right now. So, yeah, looking good for them so far. I want to see if they can maintain this.
That's the thing with Zilean, that we put a lot of emphasis on Ari's maneuverability, but Zilean is just as quick in the right hands, because, yeah, Ari's Spirit Rush is great, but it doesn't exactly have the lowest of cooldowns, whereas Zilean's Time Warp has a cooldown of just 15 seconds. So with blue buff, that is. So he can quickly maneuver himself to top or bottom lane, and that's not even taking into account that he has the rewind, his W ability, which of course will scale back a tiny bit of that time, but needs to be careful because he's run out of mana. But there again is a really strong point of Zilean. He feels like he's under threat. He feels like there's a gank coming in from Lee Sin, and he just speeds himself away from danger. He's such a good champion mid. He's so underrated.
He's situational though. He works in certain comps like this one. He can't be picked as just a general pick, but bottom lane, this is looking pretty dicey.
This is looking really bad for Sona and Ezreal. The charm has landed as well. Can they be picking up a kill? Shyvana in the meantime is coming around from the side. Corki flashes in. That's going to be a kill down. Can they pick up a second kill? Hallengale comes in, but your perception did just miss from Ahri. So, both mid laners being very aggressive with their roaming capabilities, not even waiting to 6. In Ahri's case, who's still level 5, but it still makes it work for us. So she's going to claw 1 kill back onto Zilean, going back to spawn 700, nearly 800 gold to spend. Will it be a double Doran's Ring? Nope, it's going to be a Cage's lucky pick. In the meantime, at top lane, Irelia takes a lot of damage from Jax, and Jax is having a really great time up there, completely having it his way.
That is confusing in itself. I really should have the first few levels, but I did see her taking mini harass to the face, which didn't help. Jax will be stronger in a bit, but I really should be slightly strong at the start. She should scale back up again when it comes to 9. I feel like a guy on the weather forecast. It's just like, towards the end of the day, I really will be stronger. And that's probably what will happen anyway. But at the moment, Jax will continue to scale, and that's the problem with Jax. Actually, no, I really didn't even go back. I don't think that's probably why.
Yeah, so Zilean has about 1,800 gold to spend, and how is he going to opt to go for this one? Catalyst of the Protector, so more than likely Rod of Ages will be taken first. He's also got a Vision Ward, very interesting stuff, and adding some wards on top of that. So awesome stuff thus far from Zilean. As he said, though, really important that he got a strong beginning against Ahri. Ahri's not doing too bad for herself, though. She's ahead by 7 creep score and has the Cage's lucky picks. The gold per 10 is going to be in her favour. The second blue has just spawned, and Ahri is going to be trying to take this. Need to be careful, though, because Shyvana is lurking around. Don't think she's going to be able to steal this. The ward is down, but it would be very dangerous to go in there, and indeed, Ahri will pick up the blue. And that's going to be just fine for purple team. DemTrolls.
If she'd gone 2 seconds earlier, she would have gotten it. Because Ahri didn't even realise, like, she completely blanked her out. 2 seconds earlier, easy smite steal, straight up. But she just mistimed it, basically, mistimed the damage. And this is the problem, like, you can go with an M5 comp, but you need experience. So far they're doing well, but they're 2-2. We'll see what they're made of in a short while, but they need to stay ahead. Those wards, good early sign that they're going to be aggressive, and that's what they need to be.
Well, I really went back and picked up a second Doran's Blade, and starting to look very favourable for her at the moment. Has moved ahead by 10 creep score over Jax. Both of them have 1 kill, or 1 death and 1 assist, I should say, due to the junglers ganking at top previously. We have the jungler ganking at bot now, but Ezreal will be pushing them back, and people... Well, actually, Lee Sin complaining about lag, so let's hope that doesn't continue to be the case. Zilean against Ahri in mid is kicking off still. Blue buff on Ahri, and Zilean is trying his best to stay in close proximity to her on creep score. He has just been caught out there from the charm, but not a great deal of damage coming after that. Here comes Dragon's Descent from Shyvana, but easy escape from Ahri, just popping the Spirit Rush, and she will be just fine.
That was an odd Dragon's Descent. Should have come from behind, knocking it towards Zilean, rather than knocking her away from Zilean, which is, well, helping them basically. Very interesting play. Maybe it's just to scare them. Angry Dragon on your face, never a good thing, but even so, very odd play. Waiting for the Axe to get something done at top. Honestly, I think it's going to be very even. Both players are just going to farm it out. They might go for trades, but I don't expect it to happen. If they do, I expect Jax to come up on top. Oh, Janna going out for the flash. Nice reactions.
Here's Shyvana coming towards top lane. Has been spotted from a ward, so I would expect Ahri to be just fine. It's important to note that Dragon's Descent did pop Ahri's ultimate, so her kill potential has dropped by quite a significant margin, especially when you consider that Zilean has a Catalyst to protect her this early on. he should be soaking up a lot of that damage. So Nari is going to be forced to come to top lane. Lots of action is going to ensue here. 2 versus 2 now, 3 versus 2. Lots of ignites have been used as well. Here's Ari from the side, could pick up this kill on towards Jax. The ignite will be ticking down. Finally takes him out. That's going to be a 2-for-0 clean sweep. Zilean thought about coming top for a few seconds and realized, I cannot do anything in this situation. There's no point in me giving my life away on top of everything else. So 4-2 to DemTrolls. And they're looking strong here. You know, we're talking about the composition coming out from Bacon Lovers, but other than Zilean, it's not really looking too good for them.
Yeah, as soon as Zilean saw that... What? He just, like, went for a circuit around the terrain, maybe getting some exercise or something. But it's very odd. Yeah, Zilean should have followed Ari immediately because he knew action was going to go down top because Shyvana was there looking for a gank. It was fairly obvious because Ari was heading top, therefore Zilean should follow. If that's not the case, you punish. You push the wave, yes he did that, but what he didn't do is push the next wave, which he can easily do because yes, Lee Sin was on his way, but bomb, and then wait 4 seconds and you could have just run off by then and it would have like cleared the way for remote farming, it's fine. Which is very odd because if someone does that, you need to punish them. And that's what's great about Zilean and other pushing champions. It's like bomb, okay, you just lost 2 waves of creeps. And Shyvana is gonna do nothing. Coming from very odd angles while ganking.
Yeah, coming from a fairly in-your-face angle, which obviously doesn't exactly sound like the worst of ideas, but Ari has complete vision. It's like, oh, okay, I can see Shyvana. I'll just back away. I'll be fine. Charm has landed on towards Zilean. Will she be finishing off the action? The answer is a no. Not just yet. Spirit Rush is up, but maybe a bit cautious that Shyvana could be lurking around elsewhere. So Zilean took quite a bit of damage, but he doesn't seem to care a great deal. Is going to be recalling with 1,450 gold. In fact, he's cancelled that recall. Some pings going down. Here comes Shyvana, but again, it's from right in front of your face. And Ari doesn't really care too much about that. He's going to be coming up, though, because look at Irelia's positioning. He's going to be coming in from the side. Dragon is sent over the wall. But nice work from Irelia, forcing that flash. Lee Sin, in the meantime, comes out of nowhere, landing the Sonic Wave and the resonating strike, and that forces the ultimate from Zilean. So, overall, a glorious success from DemTrolls, forcing 2 ultimates out of pretty much nothing.
DemTrolls are playing, honestly, like Bacon Lovers should. Because they're being aggressive, they're counter-pushing, they're punishing. And now they're going straight for Drake. They're playing exactly how Bacon Lovers should be playing. And honestly, Bacon Lovers have a better comp for it, which is baffling. Okay, so they made great counter pushes, and now they're picking that Drake as well. There's nothing that Bacon Lovers can do. And Ezreal, if he was looking to steal Drake, aimed for a very odd area. I suppose he thought they were pulling it out and he didn't have vision because of the pink ward, but surely they can't nuke it down in 2 seconds. They're not. It's not 18 minutes. It's not like 25 minutes in. It's not going to fall that quickly.
Well, maybe a bit of a lack of communication or just an error on his part. But either way, Ari will be picking up the blue buff, and in the meantime, Jax is going to be smashing down that top tower. Will fall. So the announcer comes in. Purple's team has been destroyed. Purple team's turret team. Even. Yeah, the whole team.
The entire
destroyed.
team has just died.
Killer tower, everyone suicide. Gutted. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. As you said before, there is a big difference between these 2 teams and how they're playing right now. It seems to me the DemTrolls are a very aggressive, in-your-face kind of team. That's why Willex on Ari right now, I feel, was a really good pick for him. Bot lane as well, you've got Corky, who, as we mentioned before, does scale very nicely. The later on in the game you get, what's he actually building? Interesting. Well, we don't know just yet. He's got 930 gold, 92 creep score. Ezreal is beating him on farm. But they're now going to be pushing that mid lane in amongst everything else. I really could be coming from the backside. Zilean's ultimate was up, but didn't have a chance to do anything. The charm was ridiculous, and the burst potential incredible. And that, in a nutshell, kind of sums up this game, I have to feel. That even though the idea was there, the execution really isn't as crisp as Moscow 5.
Yeah, if you're going to run a comp like this, you have to train it and train it a lot, and change your playstyle. Your playstyle has to match M5. You can't just run a comp and expect it to work. You have to know what your team plays like. And that's a huge thing. That is quite advanced, yes, but if you want to play at this level of play, you need to know how your team plays. You need to have a style. And, of course, everyone knows what M5 style is. So
Yeah, hyper aggressive, down your throat kind of style. And you know what? This makes me realize just how strong Diamond Prox is. And this isn't me fanboying Diamond Prox. It's just giving credit where it's due. It's not me knocking on Naprian either, who is the Shyvana for Bacon Lovers. But when they ran this composition, the one thing that really stood out to me is that Shyvana Diamond Prox was even more aggressive than before because he knew that he had Zillion's ultimate to back him up if things went down that he wasn't expecting. So, you know, Diamond Prox is such a good jungler that he can actually really, really harass those lanes, keep them behind, and nobody can get close to the rest of Moscow Fire's lanes. On top of that, in this kind of case, we had a gank, a tower dive, in fact, in mid on Zillion, who really couldn't do anything, was charmed, and that was pretty much game, set, and match. Shyvana, to me, has been invisible. Apart from that top lane action, which was kind of 10-15 minutes ago almost, I've yet to see Shyvana do much in this game, apart from pop a couple Dragon Descents to escape. There's no real presence there. So if you compare that to Lee Sin, who's been all over the map so far, he's got 4 assists and 1 kill. So far, Shyvana has 1 assist in 16 minutes. If you pull off this comp, you have to have an aggressive jungler.
yeah, for sure. They had the right idea, they had the wards, and they were aggressively warding, which is exactly what they needed. That's how the comp works. Vision, you have vision, you go for invade. Lee Sin ganks, your lane reacts well, they don't die, Lee Sin loses all of his jungle in one fell swoop, literally in 20 seconds, because that's how fast it is. That wasn't executed at all, and honestly, I feel like Purple Team have a bit more vision, and for some reason, looks like Bacon Lovers are warding their own jungle, which, honestly, doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Okay, yes, Zillion got dived, but if you're running a comp like this, if you get behind, you lose. Therefore, you have to keep being aggressive until you lose.
Yeah, and look at Lee Sin once again. We were mentioning how aggressive he is. He's going to force off the crescendo. That looks on my screen to go through Lee Sin.
Lee Sin does not care.
What the hell?
That was...
I'm a blind monk. I can't dance. Therefore, crescendo doesn't bother me.
I'm not very good at dancing, so I'm not going to.
Exactly. So, therefore, I counter your crescendo. Unlucky. That was weird. I don't know if that was a bug. I don't know if you caught that, Hexit, but that seemed to literally just pass right through him. Didn't bother him in the slightest. But it did catch his 2 teammates, and it was enough to push them back. So I guess in that case, it doesn't matter if it was bugged. It was successful. Yeah, but you look at Lee Sin. He's really aggressive, trying to push the envelope, different lanes, trying to do as much as possible. And here's Shyvana, appearing late, not really doing too much. There's no hope of a gank there because, you know, Shyvana does have her ultimate, but that's pretty much all that she can bring to the table. Here comes Ari in the meantime at bot lane, and Shyvana is going to be coming around the backside. Can she make something happen here? Will she be too late? Janna is going to pop off the Howling Gale, which is going to keep Ari alive, and in the end, Shyvana pretty much didn't do too much. Very nearly took down Ari, but that's not going to be enough to do the job. Now chasing on towards Corky, who has that bomb, needs to make sure he doesn't walk into Ari. That would be a proper troll move. Well, I guess it would fit in with the DemTrolls name.
Yeah,
it would be quite funny. But yeah, just going back to the point, I know it sounds like I'm really slating Shyvana, and I feel bad for this, but, you know, as casters, Pauls, you have to look at things objectively, and you have to be like, okay, this is working and this isn't working. Shyvana compared to Lee Sin, that's all I can really compare it to right now. There's a big difference. Lee Sin is much more of a threat, he's much more of a presence overall.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be unbiased, and from an objective standpoint, it's... yeah, exactly. Shyvana is just farming her own jungle, poking ahead in lane now and then, and getting caught in their jungle, and then Dragon descending out. That's it. It's not punishing Lee Sin hard. If you're gonna run a comp, punish them. If you're gonna run this comp, be aggressive. Don't be aggressive and feel like half-hearted about it. It's just like, oh, we're falling behind by 4 kills. Better just play defensive and farm till late game.
Oh my god, the damage on Sona will be going down here. Crescendo did land on Lee Sin this time, so no further bug, but doesn't seem to make any difference. In the meantime, Ari should be able to escape the Spirit Rush. That was nice play, nice juke. And Dragon will be going down. Sorry, what did he say that was?
Lee Sin has probably had dance lessons since the last crescendo.
He's blind, he's not deaf, is he? So
yeah,
obviously he's still feeling the beat.
Grooves. Yeah, man.
The grooves, yeah. So he was affected this time around, just not the first time. But yeah, 7 for 2. That's going to be a Drake to DemTrolls, and also Jax will be falling at top lane for Irelia. Irelia has been having a pretty strong top lane as well, has to be said. That Jax's 0-3-1 just has a Phage. Irelia is a full item ahead of him. She has the Phage and the Zeal. So fairly interesting, and again, surprise, surprise, Dragon's Descent has been used just to escape from Shyvana.
It's up to 4 now.
This is what you're talking about. You have to be aggressive with this composition, and everything to me is pointing to being defensive with it, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If you want to be defensive, there's much better champions out there to do so with.
Yeah, it almost feels like to me that they saw this on the stream and it's like, okay guys, let's try it. It doesn't work like that. You have to know context. Context is huge in League of Legends, and yeah, it's not the right context. Like, even against this comp is very difficult because they have an extremely strong sort of early game, mid game comp. So if you're going to be aggressive, you have to punish them incredibly hard, to the point where they're like, I can't react fast enough because they're all over me, and then they feel demoralized. That's another thing. It's demoralizing playing against M5 because they're all over you, and it's like you have to react and make split-second decisions. It almost feels like there's more of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
It almost feels like there's normally 7 players there, especially when
Yeah.
Diamond Fox is on form. It's like there's 3 junglers against you. There's nothing you can do. He's always in the right place at the right time. And if you have a quick look at the 2 mid players, Ari has a Deathfire Grasp, a Giant's Belt, and a Hextech Revolver, and right now Zillion has a Rod of Ages and a Blasting Wand. So Ari's single target nuking ability right at this point in moment in time is incredible. It is really, really strong. Lee Sin is building towards an Aegis of the Legion, and I'm not too sure what Shyvana's building actually. She has a Cloth Armor and a Ruby Crystal, which again could be towards Aegis of the Legion, but just a bit behind Lee Sin.
That's not a great build. But Shyvana didn't get boots until very late. It was like 18 minutes. She got the Wriggles first. If you're going to be aggressive as a Shyvana jungle with this comp, you have to get boots, tier 2 boots very, very early. Because the whole thing is mobility comp. Mobility, punish. That's how it works. If you're slow, okay, you've got burnout, but now you're just moving as fast as Lee Sin would be with tier 2 boots. Congratulations. It's just not how it's supposed to work. Again, building Aegis on Shyvana, don't recommend it. You're looking at Wit's End, you're looking at Phage. Phage is incredibly core to Shyvana's early game. And honestly, Zillion's build doesn't make sense. I can't remember what Muscle 5 were building, but I get the feeling it was like Abyssal Scepter or either Death Cap. If you're going to run with Zillion, you kind of just have to go balls deep and go for that damage, because as we were saying, he scales off. Rod of Ages allows you to scale, but that doesn't make sense if you're a burst caster, which Zillion essentially is.
I think it was Rabadon's Death Cap and something like Deathfire Grasp on Alex Ich. I'm fairly sure it was something along that line. So Ezreal's going to be popping for Vision here, his ultimate, right down the throat of Baron, but all that was really verified in that was that, well, they weren't on Baron at that point. He did tag up a couple of players, but now look at them, they're just going to be jumping on top of this. Shyvana is out of position at the moment as it stands. Going to be starting to push in now. But is it too little too late? Looks likely Baron should be going down. Indeed it will. Lee Sin picks that one up comfortably, and look at the positioning. It was horrific from Bacon Lovers. Baron is down, and then they push in regardless. You are going to get completely stomped in that position. The ultimate has been popped off from Zillion just to resurrect himself, but as soon as he pops back up, he's going to go down ridiculously fast. That was a 3-for-0 exchange. They are going to be looking for that 4th kill, and they will pick it up. So just Ezreal remains. And again, I have to go back to the point before. Sometimes it's just best to leave Baron. Yes, it's a lot of gold. Yes, it's a big beefy buff after like 23, 24 minutes. But if you know it's going to be uncontested and you cannot win it, why push in and die regardless? Basically, you've given them a Baron and 4 free kills.
Someone in chat was just saying, I don't understand why Ari got Deathfire Grasp. And it's not because Zillion got Rod of Ages. It's because it synergizes with her so well. Cooldown reduction, burst. She's a burst caster. Deathfire Grasp, follow up with ultimate, and the rest of it, that's someone 100 to 0. That's a small group of people 100 to 0. It's just perfect for Ari. What doesn't it give? It makes sense as a first item pretty much in any situation, honestly. I think that's core to Ari.
I think a lot of Aries approach it differently. Like you'll see some Aries take the Abyssal Scepter, you'll see some take the Riley's Crystal Scepter, some the Rabadon's Death Cap, some Deathfire Grasp. It's really down to the situation, in my opinion, and it's down to personal preference. It all comes down to personal preference. do what works for you. In this instance, in my opinion, Deathfire Grasp makes a lot of sense because Ari is quite far ahead at this point in time, and she wants to get rid of the likes of an Ezreal as fast as possible. She wants to get rid of a Zillion and to pop that ultimate as fast as possible as well. And also, I think they're feeling, there's almost blood in the water, and they're hungry sharks just stalking their prey. They realize that at this point, bacon lovers are really, really weak, and they just want to push this home and take it home quickly. And taking a Deathfire Grasp is a sure, quick-fire way to do just that. Ari will jump in with her ulti, as Pulse just said, and she will take one target down extremely quickly without too many problems.
Yeah, as you said, personal preference, because I know Alex Itch for a fact pretty much always buys Deathfire Grasp, but that's just because they're always hyper-aggressive, and they always expect to win in mid-game, because that's where they're strongest. Might as well just make our mid-game as strong as possible, right? Acer usually probably go for Abyssal Scepter on their mid, and then take a Haunting Guy's top, so they basically deal true damage to their enemies at mid-game. It's just personal preference, as you said. And yes, some of it's situation, but when teams get into their styles, then they have their personal preferences, and that's how it comes into effect. Oh dear.
No, this is from behind in this full Baron team. This is really strange to see Bacon Lovers pushing this hard, but they're doing a lot of damage. Ultimate has been popped off from Zillion. First kill will be going down any second now. Big slows, actually. In the meantime, will be Jax on towards Corki. Irelia back onto Sona. There's Ari. As we were saying before, the burst potential is huge. Ari lost absolutely 0 health in that contest. None. It was all on Corki. And Ari right now is doing so much damage that leaving her untouched is, well, it's just game throwing. To put it mildly, to put it fairly bluntly. So 14 for 3 after 27 minutes or thereabouts is a big, big difference. This is normally the part when I'd say how Bacon Lovers can get back into this game, but honestly at this point I can't see how they can.
Their compositions failed them, GG. That's as simple as that. If you can't punish them by this stage in the game, you've lost. It's a high risk, high reward build, and the risk has not paid off. It's as simple as that. That's it. It's just straight up. The risk has not paid off, you lose. That's it. It's like Assassins. If you don't get like 10 kills early, you lose because you fall off a cliff. It's just waiting for them to die. I'm sorry to say it, but as a caster,
Irelia's is just like so strong as well. If you do get past Ari, Irelia's just going to burst you so quickly. She has Guardian's Angel, lots of damage, focusing onto Ari this time, but the Spirit Rush will get her out of problems. Now they're going to try and return back on to do some damage. Jax is taking a lot actually, doing an awful lot. Fairly awesome, but it's not going to stop the kills from coming down. So 2 for 0 trade so far.
Wasn't even there. Corki wasn't even there. 4 versus 5.
Yeah. I mean, all we can really do in this composition, Pulse, is compare this performance from Bacon Lovers to Moscow 5 that we saw a couple days ago. And it's completely and utterly different. Moscow 5, very, very aggressive. Forced the errors and punished them. This seemed to me that Bacon Lovers played super defensive with his composition. Like, Shyvana, as I said before, has almost not really featured in anything. Almost an invisible character. And for Shyvana to be invisible with his composition really makes me scratch my head. Because if you compare it to Moscow 5, a lot of the time Shyvana would be jumping in, Diamond Prox would be hyper aggressive, jump in there, would get the ultimate from Zillion, and by doing so, when they respawn, could separate the entirety of the team and then just pick off stragglers here, there, and everywhere. On this side, every time we've seen Shyvana pop the ultimate, it's been to escape, and Zillion seems to be only ultimating himself, which is kind of the one person, other than the support, that really you shouldn't be ultimating.
But then again, that comes down to his positioning, because he's always at the point where he's going to get burst down because he's too far forward or something. You have to play a bit like Heimerdinger, where your bombs are like an extension of your damage. Pop bombs, run the heck away. Just run for it. The rest is utility. And honestly, Zillion only worked because he could buff his high mobility composition. So give the speed buff to Jax. Jax just lunges at your AD carry before the AD carries can even react, and he just cripples them with fear. Same with Shyvana. You've got someone heading towards you with 700 movement speed. How do you get away from it? You can't. That's why it worked. But as you said, everything was not executed correctly. They did it well at the start. They got 2 kills for 1. Okay, you're in a good position. Zinian got double buff. He's 2-1 right now, and he should be able to completely snowball his lane. He didn't, and the comp failed them, and then they played defensively, which makes no particular sense at all, because you have to be balls deep. It's as simple as that. If you don't follow your comp through, 9 times out of 10 you'll lose. It's with any composition. If you don't know what your composition is and don't utilize your composition, you'll lose. I think we've seen that in like every single game, where if a composition fails, it's not long until the team fails as well.
And if a composition wins, like we were saying before with the Fnatic composition, where they got that ace, just every single AoE, and the kitchen sink was thrown in opposition, it's like, hey, that was a crisp execution, and look, it yielded huge results. They won the game very, very comfortably. At this point, there's literally nothing they can do. You can just see that DemTrolls are taking turns tanking the tower. Here comes Jax. Howl and Gale instantly back. Janna is a very strong pick against Jax for that reason alone, and the Monsoon. There we go, Monsoon has been popped just to heal, so they really want to push this tower and inhib. You can see the marks coming down. So this will be the 3rd and final inhib to fall, and the super minions in the meantime have taken down one Nexus tower, so there's really nothing that Bacon Lovers can do at this point. It's GG, it's that simple. Another important thing to mention is that you said before that Jax Darian it was, in Moscow 5's comp that was running the character, was really aggressive, would jump in, stun, do lots and lots of damage. The problem here is, look at Jax compared to Irelia on stats and on farm. 223 to Irelia, 178 to Jax. 517 Irelia, 161 Jax. Look at the difference in item build. Jax has yet to finish anything off. He's just got components of different items. He's got a Sheen, a Phage, and a pickaxe. Irelia has a recurve bow, a Guardian Angel, and also a Trinity Force. So Jax, in this kind of situation, is only useful for jumping in and stunning, and then after that happens, he has no use anymore. It's just these kind of things that snowball the game completely in the opposition's hands. There's nothing that they could do.
What's that build? I understand that's a Trinity Force or the makings of, and now MITB is creating a word out of words. Good job. Fantastic.
It's basically just done. You know, it's
What
easy.
spelling?
I
Oh no, it's just spamming out words now, it's fine.
yeah.
Good. I like it. That's classy and douchey at the same time. Nice.
I agree though. It's like you basically have some kind of a build that doesn't make a lot of sense. Okay, Trinity Force has been finished off now, but Trinity Force and Pickaxe after 32.5 minutes, it's just simply not good enough. I mean, Irelia is having a laughing just
day.
fit of laugh. You know, yeah, she's having a field day. They're going to engage now. This is probably going to be the last team fight unless something extraordinary happens. Shyvana has popped the ultimate, crescendo goes in, but just look at the amount of damage that DemTrolls have taken here. Just look at the damage. It's basically nothing. Nobody's really that bothered here. They're just going to finish off the Nexus. And that's how the game goes if your composition is not executed very well. You just get stomped.
Fortunately, Irelia's got terrible sportsmanship, so as much as that was, I guess, as you know, Irelia said, a stomp, but even so, sportsmanship should always be upheld, and I'm not sure about like that. But even so, yeah, everything we said was pretty relevant. I don't even know what that Jax build was, though. Like, I'm trying to justify it, but I'm thinking...
I think it would have been Trinity Force and Bilgewater Cutlass. I think that's the way they'd have gone for. Then maybe Hextech Gunblade afterwards, but obviously he was so far behind at that point, he couldn't complete either of them until 32.5 minutes, and, well, by that stage the game was pretty much lost. It was done and dusted. So the grand finals go to DemTrolls, and it was a very, very one-sided game. I actually think it was the most one-sided game.
Yeah, it was a bit depressing, but what we could do as casters is just try and teach people what the composition was, how people were supposed to build. I think that was all we could do on our part, quite frankly.
I think, you know, we're probably going to get some stick for being fairly harsh to Bacon Lovers, and that's not the case. We're not being harsh for no reason. We're not. I don't think we're being harsh. I think we're just pointing out things that we've noticed. Sometimes you have to give people praise, and sometimes you have to just say, look, that didn't work, and this is why it didn't work. And in that case, for the composition they ran, they were way too passive. they, as you said, they got a 2-0 at the start for Zillion and a double buff, and then Ari basically just roamed and got lots and lots of kills and brought herself back on even playing field in mid. In the meantime, top lane was just completely outright won from Irelia, and the jungle on Shyvana was basically non-existent. I don't think, apart from the very first kill, that Shyvana was successful in any ganks in the ganking phase. Obviously, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure she wasn't.
Then again, if you look at Shyvana as a jungler, yes, you can gank, but you should be crippling the enemy jungle so much that they're not relevant. Yeah. And to the point where Lee Sin should have been like 5 levels behind, and it's just like he ganks and dies to like the support or something. It's like you go for a gank, your team is so good to the point where they deflect the gank. It's like, okay, hi Lee Sin, bye. And then Lee Sin returns to his jungle and realizes he has 1 wolf, 1 wraith, 1 golem, and like 1 minion at every single big camp.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I hate to keep comparing it to Moscow 5 because they're two completely different teams. Moscow 5 have been dominant at LANs and online and everything else. They're the top team in Europe, if not the world. But if you compare Diamond Proxy's counter jungling to the counter jungling that we just witnessed, I'm not even sure if Shyvana was in the opposite jungle the entire game. And if she was, it was maybe once or twice. Now, Diamond Prox has timings for Wraiths, he has timings for Golems, he has timings for the red and blue, and he's always there. It's a regular occurrence to see him stealing Big Wraith every single time it spawns on the second. So that's the difference that Shyvana on Diamond Prox brings and any other kind of jungler that you'd watch in these kind of circumstances. And especially, as you were saying before, in that composition, you simply need to have their jungler crippled so that you can force the action on other lanes, and Lee Sin's not really going to become any kind of a factor in the game, but that just didn't happen. And the result was a very comfortable victory.
Yeah, exactly. It's difficult. It's very, very difficult. And honestly, I genuinely hope that they watch this cast, because I think they could learn something. And when I first started casting, I was casting for my, old team who wanted to know what they were doing wrong. So I casted, and it's like, okay, I understand what we were doing. It's great from that. It's a different perspective. It's a very good perspective, to the point where you will learn a lot. Just one game that's been casted by someone who has knowledge in that respect, you learn a lot very quickly, and it's great. So I'm glad that they were in this position, because I generally think they can become a good team. They just need to execute it well, and they need to know the context. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah. Because honestly, Diamond Prox as a jungler, his mentality as Shyvana is, your jungle, that's my jungle, not yours. And that's how he makes it.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody that can match him in counter jungling. I really don't. Every time I've watched him, he has been sublime. But guys, we are getting on into the evening, and I'm sure everybody has things to do, so we're going to quickly wrap it up here. Just before we go, just a couple of pieces of information that you might be interested in. If you want to follow IPL, or sorry, 4PL I should say, on Facebook, it's facebook.com/4pl.lol. And if you would like to follow my co-caster, who is Pulse, why don't you go ahead and tell them where they can follow you?
It will be facebook.com/watchyourpulse, exactly the same for my YouTube.
Alright, and if you want to follow myself, I'll be giving some CSGO beta keys away, I think, tonight or maybe early on in the morning. It's facebook.com/MetasTV, and it's also the same for YouTube. So I think that's all, Paul. Do you have anything else to add to that, or are we good to go?
Well, just thank you for watching, guys. Thank you for sticking with us for however long we've been casting.
I don't even know. I think it's like 7 hours again. So I hope you've enjoyed, guys, and until next time, which I believe will be on Saturday. Yes, I'm pretty sure it's Saturday. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.